Carl and Lou here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life. gbhblofficial.com for short, and it's Freddy's Nightmares, an episodic recap. We're up to episode 7 of season 1, Sister's Keeper. Written by Jeff Frelich and Michael DeLuca, directed by Ken Horn. This is one of our first direct sequels. Yeah. Sister's Keeper is a direct sequel to the pilot No More Mr. Nice Guy. Remember the two young girls, the daughters of the twins of the cop? Yep. Basically, we're catching up with them. We're going to follow them and experience what, for starters, there is no segmentation here. This is one continuous story from the first part, from the beginning to the end. Yeah. There's no crossing over, there's no extra characters. This is just one full episode. And you can tell they were really, really wanted to make this feel Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. Like, they really go for it. In fact, we were convinced this and No More Mr. Nice Guy put together could have been a movie. Yeah. This alone has enough, it's a good episode, it has enough strength in it, but it is so Freddy Krueger, it's so Nightmare on Elm Street, barring a huge amount of gore, nudity and stuff like that, that you will generally be like, oh wow, this is the show. Yeah. This is what it is.
If you watch other ones, you're like, where's the link? This is obviously direct.
Yeah, there's no Tales from the Crypt stuff going on in here. This is like I said, a direct sequel and an implication that we want to tie this into the bigger world. Freddy is a star and is tormenting these girls. We got Hill Park as Merritt Blocker, and Gree Park, yes, as Lisa Blocker. And be honest, that's all we really need to talk about. But I'll throw in the other two semi-important characters. Annie Curry as Sarah Blocker, that's the mother, and Josh Cox as John. Oh, John. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, there's no two parts here. The whole thing stays with the same characters as basically it's about Lisa and Merritt Blocker. And if you remember Merritt was the one that Freddy really got his hands on in the original No More Mr. Nice Guy. She's the one that still struggles with him now, still dreaming about him 6 months after the event. So basically it's implied like Mum has moved on to a certain degree. She's busy working. Lisa just wants to forget what happened and is going to school, and she's the popular girl. Merritt is the outcast, still dreaming about Freddy, still wanting to talk about it. They also spent some time in an institution.
Did she?
Oh, yeah. Surprised she only just came home. She goes to school, and it's she gets insulted there. It's not like major insults, but when you're constantly having it, she's bullied basically by a popular girl and stuff like that. And Lisa doesn't really do much to help her either. She's like, oh, leave her alone, but that's about it. Yeah. She doesn't really do.
She's got her own stuff going on. She's got a boyfriend.
She's got a boyfriend. She's got John. Yep. Yeah, she also is trying to stay popular. She also doesn't want to talk and think about Freddy Krueger and stuff like that, which you completely understand. Out of mind, out of sight. With Freddy Krueger, it's even implied in this episode by the end and reminded this episode that stop believing him, stop thinking about him. Is what Nancy did in the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, just
you've got no power. Your power belongs in me believing and being scared of you in this dream world. If I don't have that, you don't have any power. And they tried to utilise that in this episode. Two middling results for them, unfortunately, but there you go. But at least we actually get a result here, so to speak. John is Lisa's boyfriend. He pops in and out throughout, mainly in that he obviously isn't that into Lisa because later he will try it on with Merritt and get in a lot of trouble for that, and then report back to Lisa as well. Yeah. He's an odd fish in this one. Yeah. He's horny, basically. There's a lot of horniness because I think we're first introduced to John and Lisa like getting heavy on the couch kind of thing, and him trying to move it along to an extra stage, and she sends him off. That's how we're first kind of introduced. Yeah. But of course, Merritt is being tormented by Freddy, but no one believes her. Least of all, Lisa. But Merritt desperately wants her to believe. She can't quite understand why she doesn't. Particularly as we discover that Merritt gets hurt, so Merritt gets scratched with Freddy's claws. She doesn't get the injury. Lisa does. Yeah. But Lisa's quick to dismiss that and no, it's not real. It's nothing. I'll probably just scratch myself in bed and all that. It's like, okay. Yeah. But after sort of arguing and discussing, and there is a lot of that, which I can understand would bore people and stuff like that. There's a sort of a reference to we should trade places for the day at school, or trade places with me for the day at school and see what it's like, Merritt says. So Lisa decides to do that. She basically knocks Merritt out by putting giving her more medication. Yeah. All right, that's dodgy. And then pretends to be Merritt at school. And has a rough time of it. Kind of does see what the experience is like. In fact, that's when John first takes the opportunity. He meets her in the hallway and tries to kiss her and come on to merit what he believes is merit. And it being Lisa, obviously slaps her back. Later, he will go to visit Lisa at her home because it's implying that she's sick. And then try it on with her, discover that she's merit, and then still try it on with her. Yeah. He's a character, to say the least. But by Lisa doing this, because Freddy wants merit, by Lisa doing this, Freddy now starts to target Lisa. And she then starts to experience the dreams of Freddy, forced to have to face the reality that he does exist, and they're going to have to team up to defeat them. And we do get some good stuff here, and a development of the overall, I think, an idea of taking elements of Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which is to be able to help each other in dreams and fight back and stuff like that, with a new idea of your twins. You share a special telekinetic bond that means we can dream together. Yeah. Now, there is a question marks around us. We kind of laugh about it. It's like, oh, we've got to, make sure we dream together, fall asleep at the same time and stuff like that. There's also a really funny scene where they imply they've been up for 4 days straight, but they look nothing. And I always think back to when Nancy in the original Nightmare on Elm Street has been awake for a few days. Look at her. Look at the fucking makeup job. Look at the acting. She looks like she is ready to drop. Yeah. And that's how it would be. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how it would be.
You'd be ashen,
you'd be sick. But they're just sitting at school going, oh yeah, we've been up for 4 days. Don't know how much longer I can do this. You wouldn't even be at school. No. You wouldn't be physically able to do that. But yeah, so they start to try and dream together, and we do get one where one falls asleep in class because they're in class and they're really tired, and there's a joke about them both having to go to really boring lectures. One's history, I think the other's geography, and they're like, oh god. So one does fall asleep and gets tormented by Freddy in a dream. This is a famous shot. If you were to Google this and then click at the images, Google Freddy's Nightmares and get the images, this will be in your top results. It's probably one of the most famous things. It's been misconstrued as well, as people being like, oh yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street got really stupid. And then this picture would be used, and it's like, no, that's not. It's from the TV show. Of course, it's Freddy playing the guitar. Ooh, yeah. But not just playing the guitar, jumping with it. Jumping in the air and things like that. Yeah, it is you want the cheese. Oh god. You don't get much cheesier than that.
Horrendous, yeah.
But elsewhere in this episode, they have really good imaginative ideas. The part where she's dreaming in bed and the blanket comes over her, but it's a red and green striped. Freddy's jumper sliding over is really good. Or later when he's fully attacking them in the boiler room when they're together, his arm, and that's like a very classic Freddy's Nightmare on Elm Street effect. His arm becomes all elongated, it stretches out, starts to drip slime because he's reaching out to grab the other one. Like, think about the shot in the original Nightmare on Elm Street where he's walking in the alleyway and his arms like that. That's that shit. So they have got good. Why the guitar part is there? It's just weird. It really is weird. And there's a point where they think they kill him as well and hit him with a pipe, and he sort of disappears. And like, I remember saying to you, God, I hope they don't think they've killed him. But they don't actually. They're like, you ain't going to stop. We're going to have to find a way. We need to go back in and we need to convince, basically he has no power and stuff like that. And that's what they do. And it does seem to work. He disappears and they're happy and they're able to move on. But then we get a really depressing ending. Yeah. A really, really Nightmare on Elm Street strong ending, as in another dream, because obviously it didn't happen in the case, Lisa is dragged into the couch, which is a very good and a very throwback. This is all very Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. Dragged into the couch.
This is some good effort there.
Yeah, it's shot very well as she's dragged into the couch. It looks realistic. Merritt wakes up in bed, sees that Lisa's been slashed to death. We actually see a bloody body here. She's been slashed to death in her bed. The mother walks in. Merritt is blamed for it, of course. What did you do? What did you do? And so you know what? Merritt's fate is here. And that's how we end. And it's like, oh, that's horrible.
Very dark.
But it's also very a Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. And I was very impressed by that.
I think we needed it after the last episode.
We did. And it's really interesting because it stands out from the pack because it is... Not only is it a direct sequel to an episode, we will get those again in the future, but this is the first time we're really getting it. It's one of the most heavily Freddy episodes. We're running out of these now, people, by the way. I think we've done 3, and I think there's only 4 in season 1. Yeah. So, on that aspect. But it's serious. It's very aside from Freddy with a guitar. It's in a serious episode trying clearly to tell a concise story from beginning to end. Yeah. Hamstrung by the fact that it's using characters that were barely in the pilot.
Yeah.
They were there, but the focus was on the cop,
Yeah.
Lieutenant Blocker. Do you see what I mean? Like, so you've had to start, the director and writers have had to start from a place they didn't really have the confidence able to do it. I think they did the best they could.
Yeah.
Like, by the end, considering Merritt and Lisa are twins, and obviously twins in real life, I was able to identify who they were and what their motivations and what their existence was and stuff like that. Did really good character writing. Acting, though, some of the line delivery was very wooden.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of like, oh, put a bit more life into that.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't really, do that again.
Yeah. I think obviously when they cast it, it's like, okay, we want blonde twins this age to act.
Yeah, you probably would have been limited to what you've got. Yeah, you would have had to narrow it down to such a point. Yeah, because you want actors, you want a certain age to a degree in that window, because you've got to look a certain age. You could probably be older or younger, but you want, there's probably not going to be a huge range. So, and obviously affordability as well.
Yeah, money, yeah.
Like, you're not getting the Olsen twins, like that kind of thing, you know what I mean? So you're having to go cheaper. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not like I thought they were terrible or anything like that. Weirdly enough, I think Josh Cox as John was probably the best actor, because he kind of has a gleefulness when he realises that he's got an opportunity to try and get on merit, and he keeps getting slapped in the face but seems amused by it more than anything else. I think he might have been the best actor of the bunch. Aside from Robert Englund, who actually has to do something here, which is always nice to see. He has to actually do something here.
His money.
Earn his money and exude threat again, you know, while having that little cheesy moment with the guitar. It's all anyone ever really remembers from this bloody episode. I think this was a strong one overall.
Definitely.
It's a bit boring and slow in places, but I don't know how else they could have done it,
No.
because you need the time.
You want to care about the twins as well.
Yep, the fucking twins. Got to care about the fucking twins. There you go. Episode 7, Sister's Keeper. Got any thoughts? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com, as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?